Hey there, and welcome to our weekly conversation on getting you the life and career that you want. I'm Dr. Sanaa, and I'm your very own success coach, bringing you results-driven tools and brain hacks so that you can finally start getting the life and career that you've always wanted. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hit that bell and subscribe button below so that you don't miss out on any of the content we put up there. Okay, so for today's discussion, let's talk about the simplest brain hack that you can do right now to start getting that life and career that you want. And it's as simple as focusing your mind on what it is that you want. Why do I call this a brain hack? It's because your brain takes in so much information at any given second that it needs a way to filter it to whatever's important to you. So the way that it does that is by looking at what you've been focusing on. So if you focus on what you want, that's what it's going to filter into your conscious awareness. So let's take you being in the market for a red car, for example. So you're in the market for a red car, and all of a sudden you start seeing red cars all around. Now it's not because red cars didn't ever exist before, right? It's because the part of your brain that's responsible for filtering in the important information has now put the red car in the important pile. So now you're seeing red cars all over because it's brought into your conscious awareness. Okay, so now that you know that brain hack, let's get to it. What is it that you want? Here's where it gets a bit tricky though. Whenever we think about what it is that we want, usually what comes up is something like this. I want to not be taken for granted at work, or I want to be less anxious during my day. So here's something really interesting about your brain. Your brain actually has no way of differentiating between negative and positive when the negative seems absolutely reasonable. So when you say, I want to not be taken for granted at work, your brain hears, I want to be taken for granted at work. So what's the red car? It's any time that you might be taken for granted at work, that's what's filtered into your conscious awareness. So let's try and flip it. Instead of saying, I want to not be taken for granted at work, let's try to say something like, I want to be appreciated at work. Do you see the difference? Okay, so let's try that with the anxious comment. Instead of saying, I want to be less anxious, let's try and make that, I want to be calm. Because if I want to be less anxious is the comment that we're making, then the red car becomes any time that you're anxious. But if you say, I want to be more calm, the red car becomes any time that you could possibly be calm at work. Great. So now that you have all of that information, you can actually use it to experiment for yourself. So try it today. Try focusing on what it is that you want instead of what you don't want. And let your brain do the work to bringing that into your conscious awareness. And then meet me back here for our next video so that we can see how we did.